Welcome to the Concentric Home Solution Woodworking channel. In this video, I will be revisiting my 712 Woodmaster planer molar. I know I've done a review on it before, but I wanted to go over a little more detail and the various aspects for the machine as far as build quality and so forth. For anyone that may be interested in picking up a machine like this. Now, just for the record, and I'm going to be saying this a lot in the future, I'm not saying that everybody that does woodworking need to run out and buy a machine like this. If you have a business, you're a cabinet maker, this will have great value for you. Or if you just happen to be able to afford it, but it's not a necessary piece. It's one of my favorite pieces. It was actually my favorite tool, I should say my favorite machine prior to getting the CNC machine. And it's arguably my best made machine. But I'm going to show you guys a little bit. I'm going to be narrating it as it goes along. Any questions you have, try to save it for the end. At the end of the video, when I close out, I'm going to call that kind of like a after party type environment. But see you on the other side. Okay, the machine uses two plugs. One is for the, pause here for a second. One is for the actual head of the machine, the part that, the business part of the machine, the part that turns the blades to cut the profile. And the machine has a separate motor that drives the feed rollers. So 110 is for the feed roller and 220 is for the main head. The main head is powered by a 5 horsepower motor. Is a Leeson motor, I think it is. And the motor that drives the feed rollers is a 1/8 horsepower with a gearbox that I think is DC, but it's AC/DC. But it's 1/8 of a horsepower, and it's solely for the feed rollers. So that's the reason for 2. And the amperage is 30 amps for the motor. I think it's a requirement for the motor, and there's a 20 amp service you need for the feed rollers. They don't recommend that you use an extension cord for this machine. They want you to plug it in directly. But the run from where the plug is to my circuit breaker is literally about 12 inches of wire going to that breaker. And I use a very heavy gauge cord, and it's a very secure plug-in. There's, it's not gonna move around or anything like that, and it's not gonna get hot because the wire is oversized. I made sure I did that, and I have no kids or anybody to go mess with it to unplug it or anything like that. So that works for me. And the current plug I'm using in the machine right now, I'm about to change it out to use the same type of head as my jointer planer, my Minimax jointer planer, because both of them will be sharing that same extension cord. That's the adjuster that I use to bring the bed up and bring the bed down. I'm not gonna mess with it right now because I have it perfectly set up to run the molding that I'm gonna be doing coming up in a little bit. It came with a digital readout. I didn't like it. And the one that I replaced it with, I didn't like it either. In the future, pause that real quick. I think we kind of zip past that a little bit. The one that I just showed is the come back a little bit here. Right there. Okay. This is the one that's on my table saw fence. There is a version of this that is meant for a router table, which also works for application like a planer. And I think that's what I'm going to end up getting for this because this, as I explained to you guys previously, this is very good product and it has served me well. And I prefer the features of it over the eye gauging one. So I'm going to end up replacing it to this one. I want you to notice that clamp that I showed you last week. That's for situations like this where when I'm finished with the machine, I disconnect the hose and I roll the machine away, and that hose can be used on another machine. Before you go into the inners of this, you have to make sure it's unplugged. This is a very dangerous machine. The cover is very heavy. It's made of a very heavy gauge steel. Now you can see all the inners. Gonna zip past that. Let me stop right here. Pause that. Okay. It comes standard with a planer head, 12-inch planer. I never intended to use this machine as a planer. So the first thing, I tried it once, that's to see the quality of the cut. And I removed it from the machine and I put in the what they call the accessory shaft, which is what you're seeing right here, with a 2-knife holder. Normally, this machine works with 1 knife. But if you want to get real good quality cuts, I highly recommend that you get the 2-knife holder. The one I have in there right now would hold up to an 8-inch knife, and you'll see that in a second. The feed roller has variable speed control, and that's real nice. So you could determine how fast it feeds it in, and that also affects the quality of cut. Those big wheels you see in there with the belt on that one side, that's the side that's controlling the feed roller. Stop there real quick. The bed is a cast iron bed, but they have an auxiliary table on it specifically for when you're using the molding capabilities of the machine, because you don't want to end up in a situation where that molding knives comes crashing into the cast iron bed. I mean, I don't have to explain to you. That's not very good. So they have this plastic top that is made of that, that high molecular plastic, very low friction. That's what this is made out of. And it has two fences that you can adjust to fit the size of the molding. And as you can see, it's kind of chewed up there. It's designed that way intentionally. So when the blade goes in there, it carves out its own, groove or whatever. I want to improve on that. I have some ideas, but I want to improve on that. And one thing certainly I know I'm going to change, you're going to see in a second, is the way it's tightened using wing screws. I'm going to use my favorite ones that I always show you guys I change everything out with, the one with the adjustable heads. I'm going to end up doing something like that. Here is an example of it set up properly. Perfectly matching the profile. As I was telling you earlier, it would accept a knife up to 8 inches. And the knives are, how would I say, they're grooved in the back. So they kind of like keyed. There's that 5 horsepower motor. That's the motor for the main head. And that switch is the same type of concept as your table saw. If the power goes off, it does not automatically come back on. You have to reset it. That's for safety reason. That's the motor for the feed rollers. And that's the gearbox. You can see the quality, guys. Everything is executed well on this machine. 100% made in the USA, as far as I know. And this is a well-made product. That's the drive belt. There's 2 of them. That chain that you're looking at right now is a chain that it's 4 posts for the lead screws. I think they're lead screws that adjust this, that you use to adjust the bed height. They're 3/4 of an inch thick, so they're very stout, and it's 4 of them. They attach to the cast iron bed, and the handle I showed you earlier, that's what you use to turn it up and down. Here you can see the pressure springs for the feed rollers and a lubrication point for the main head. You use a grease gun. I think it's every 8 hours you're supposed to put some oil on both sides. Some grease, sorry, not oil. Everything is well made. I have 0 complaints about this machine. There you can see that. When I say 0 complaints, any complaint you see me have is minor knocks. And it's stuff that I don't mind upgrading myself. Personally, if I produced the machine, I would have not used these, but I have no problem. The heart of the machine itself is excellent. Everywhere where it's important is top notch. But me being me, I'm always gonna modify things to my liking, and that has to go. Actually, it's been on there for too long. I just haven't taken the time to change this whole fence system out. And the wheels. The wheels didn't come with it. That was me. I did that by accident. There we go. The wheels didn't come with it. I got the wheels with it. I'm not too happy with the wheels. Y'all know the wheels I like. It's wheels with a leveling feet like I have on my Mini Max. If you haven't seen that, you could go look for my Mini Max review and you're going to see those wheels with the leveling feet. That's what I'm going to ultimately put on this. I want you to pay attention to the thickness of the, the, the metal parts. There you can see part of the cast iron bed, and these are the extension wings, also made of a very heavy gauge sheet steel, sheet metal, I guess, but it's a very heavy gauge. You can see that cast iron from the bottom with the webbing. I mean, they paid a lot of attention to detail. This machine is very stout, as I said earlier, and I'm not exaggerating. It's built like a tank. And that's the machine. So, with a machine like that, what can you do? You can take a piece of stock like this, and I showed you in the video the cutter head going over a pre-finished molding, a molding that was cut on that machine. You start off with a stock about a 30 seconds of an inch thicker than it, no more than that. Is their recommendation, and that's what I've been going with, and it's worked for me. So wherever that final dimension is, you want the raw piece, the blank, to be a 30 seconds thicker. So you could start off with something like this, plain old mundane piece of wood, and you can end up with something like this, which is the same profile that you saw. Let me switch over to, which is the same profile that you saw on the machine. This is how it comes out. This is it in poplar, by the way. And that's the beauty of having a machine like this. You could make molding in any species of wood. This one is in maple, soft maple. And then I went back and I rabbited it. I use this a lot in doors. I would do the doors in a, what do you call it? This, like a craftsman style. You know, when it's just the plain mortise and tenon. And then to dress it up, I would inset this trim in it and then put an edge detail on it. And then now it's a, you know, a more, I won't say modern, but more traditional, more elegant door. Another profile here. This one also is in poplar. All these. This is a chrome molding I produce. I've shown this to you guys before, but for individuals who haven't seen it, you can see it here. I want you to pay attention to the manual too. There's another thing I normally do push this when I do on reviews on major equipment, but I know we as men, especially, you know, big tough guys, know it all. We don't like to read these things. Make it a habit. It'll save you from getting into trouble or doing damage to your machine. A lot of useful information in this one specifically, and it has multiple manuals. It has manual that will help you get started in producing molding. This is just the owner's manual for the machine. And as I told you, the machine has multiple capabilities. So it's going to show different features in here. But there you have it. In a future video, I'm going to be revisiting this machine. I'm going to be producing some mitered cabinet doors, and I have a profile for that, so you guys will get to see it in action, actually in real time, producing molding. Promise you that, so stay tuned. But that's what I wanted to show you guys for this video. This video is targeted at an individual that is interested in buying something like this, and they wanted to consider the Woodmaster planer, and I highly recommend it. I will buy it again and again. In fact, as I grow, I plan to get either more of this, or I might get they have a larger machine now, a larger four-sided molding machine. I will get that in the future. That's how much I'm impressed with their product, and I'm impressed with their build quality. So as usual, thanks for watching the video, and be safe in the shop. This point on is the after party. So this is the part, if you guys want to say hi to me, or if you have a question, because I might edit it out from the main video. So if you have a question, you can go ahead and ask the question. I'll read your questions. What did I just do? Does it show me the analytics? There we go. Oh, I just wanted to try tonight, by the way. Nothing was wrong with me. I noticed I had a little bit more, after the video was put up, I had a little bit more people than usual. So I didn't know if it was because it was the day of the week. So I wanted to try out Monday to see if that made a difference. Anybody out there, even after the fact, after it goes up as a regular video, let me know what's the best day of the week. I mean, for you, but I would take I would take stock of it, and then I will see what will be the best day of the week to do it for everybody. Now, I didn't say this. I might pop this in the edit, but the machine is advertised as a molder planer. So obviously, as I said in the video, it has a planer head, and it has an accessory shaft which allows you to add additional features to it, such as drum sanding. You can use it as a drum sander. I didn't have any interest for using the machine as a drum sander, but some of you might be interested in that. So that's a feature of the machine. It could be a drum sander. The other thing you can do with it, I got this with the machine. You could gang rip. I haven't done it in that capacity yet. Once again, my main reason for buying the machine was for it to be a molder. But even as a molder, this could help in making blanks. The reason why, I'm going to try it eventually. The reason why I'm not 100% sold on this, even though, you know, with 2 or more blades, it could make you very efficient, is that I always find when I'm making blanks or face frames or anything like that, I have to sneak up on the final size. I can't go to the final size immediately because these boards, for whatever reason, they have tension and so forth in them. And if you get too narrow, too fast, they warp. You know, they're going to either develop a twist, a bow. You develop defects. So I find you have to sneak up on it. So even if I was to use a gang ripper, I would not use it for the final dimension. I will oversize it. I'll just use it to make my table saw job easier. So it would just multiply my effort, but only for rough sizing. I would end up using the table saw and or the planer or the drum sander to come to a final finished dimension for the blank prior to going to the molder. So at some point I'm gonna introduce this into the into my workflow. You're welcome, by the way, sir. Mr. Jim Verona. So I'll reintroduce this into the edit because I didn't mention that in the main video. Any other questions for me? A little treat here. I keep showing you guys small little pieces. If you want to hide there, if you you know, it's the real deal. This one is made out of maple. It's the real deal. It came with back cutting blades. I have never used the back cutting blades for whatever reason. Maybe because I don't like myself. I always cut diagonals on the table saw. But the more efficient way of doing it would be with the back cutters. And this could be, this one is maple, it could be cherry, it could be anything I want it to be. Sorry about that, guys. Don't want to hit the mic. Did hit the mic. But I think if you take care of this machine, you do the regular maintenance, this thing should last a lifetime. It's built that well. Any other questions? This is the best time. You get it in real time. They seem like they're similar to me. They do not play when it comes to safety. I mean, it's all over the machine, and every step they give you warnings. What to do, what not to do. Same concept as a planer, you know, you hit the zones you're supposed to stay out of. You know, a planer could kick back. and it can, you know, turn into a little cannon in certain, you know, situations. So you don't want to be in the line of fire. See that big writing up here? A whole section on safety. These equipment are fun to use everywhere. Warning. So very important to read. And not just for the sake of reading, it's very good information in this manual. Very good information. I got the dual head cutters because, as I told you, it's the same concept as a router. The more blades, the cleaner the cut. Same thing with a saw blade. The more tooth, the cleaner the cut. Right? So that's the reason why I got the two knives. It's expensive because you have to pay twice the amount of money for the knives. And by the way, not only you can make wood in any species, you could come up with your own designs. And you can get a knife made, custom knife made. Woodmaster make knives, and there are, you know, other individuals that will make knives for you. So between having the two knife holder and a variable speed control, I can control the amount of tear out, or, you know, the quality of the cut. And then with the addition of my new molding sander, drum sander / molding sander, you could switch between both activity. I got that machine specifically for my molding, so I could run molding through that mop head type sander that will conform to the profile to clean up when I need that. You can also look and see all of this. This whole profile was cut in one pass. In one pass. I repeat, one pass, a singular pass. Uno pass. Well, once again, I have a two knife holder, so take that into consideration. Don't be one of those people that go out and buy the single one and then you don't get this and get mad at me. My configuration, the way I have it, I can speak for what I have. I have a two knife holder, so I have two profile knives in there, and in one pass, I produce this. All of these, one pass. These two are the same. The only thing I did is I use a board that was not as wide, so it didn't produce the full profile. I didn't need the other. These profile on the ends are mirror. I didn't need it on both ends. So with one knife, I was able to produce two different styles of molding. I'll give you guys a little bit of update. You know, I've been struggling a little bit with the performance of my computer concerning doing live stream, and I was supposed to be ordering the new computer this week, but I decided to pump the brakes on it. I'm gonna wait until the middle of next month because I know my luck. It was around this time last year Apple came out with a computer that I intend on getting. So I don't want to end up with buyer's remorse. So I'm going to try to be a little bit patient and wait until the middle of next month before I make that purchase. I'll give it about 30 more seconds. If there's no more questions, I'll be leaving you guys for the night and I'll be seeing you all next week. Any questions? Let me know. Also, too, let me know. Also, too, I hate when I do that. Also, let me know if there was any problems with the video or with the audio. I want to stay on top of that. I appreciate you. Tongue heavy today. I appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching. And as I said, I'll see you all next week.